The first step in drawing a Romero Britto style animal is to draw the animal itself. Follow along with one of the step-by-step guides to carefully draw your animal, paying attention to size and shape and making sure you draw it large enough. Notice that there's only about an inch, maybe two above and below my animal. I want it to be as big as I can fit it on the space of my paper. After my animal is drawn, I need to divide it into sections. This dog is a great example of how Romero Britto divides up his drawings into different sections. So if your animal is large enough, you want to divide your animal into sections like I'm doing with the snake, keeping those sections fairly large. And then you want to divide up your background. I'm just dividing it into shapes. You could add clouds or some kind of scenery, as long as you are making sure it is all divided into sections for the patterns that you will be creating in the next step. Romero Britto uses lots of patterns, and you want to fill your design with patterns as well, and then you are going to Sharpie all of it. Notice that I don't have repeating patterns next to each other. These polka dots repeat, but they are in sections that are far apart from each other. These dashed lines also repeat, but again, the sections they are in do not touch each other. After you have carefully drawn and Sharpied your animal, make sure you erase any unneeded pencil lines, and then we can start working on color. When we start coloring our animal, we first want to choose a color palette for the animal itself. In this Romero Britto painting, he uses a variety of oranges, yellows, and browns to paint the lion. For my snake, I am going to use a variety of oranges and pinks. We are doing mixed media for the color in this, which means you can use markers, colored pencils, oil pastels, and crayons. So whatever colors you choose for your animal, you can choose a wide variety of shades from those items. As you color your animal with your color palette, make sure you are keeping colors separate from each other. So notice that as I'm using the pink Mr. Sketch marker, I colored all sections that were not touching. Now I'm going in and filling in this pattern with an orange colored pencil. I'm also going to use this orange colored pencil on the eyelid before skipping to the orange Mr. Sketch marker to do my next step. So I can let the orange colored pencil and orange marker be right next to each other because they are variations of orange. This is why you want as many variations of your colors that you choose for your animal as possible so that you can draw your different sections using different colors while still letting it feel like one cohesive animal. So when you are choosing your colors, make sure you are thinking about what colors the animal you drew is in real life, and also think about if you want to use colors that are different than what the animal is in real life. If you are doing a sea turtle, maybe you want to stick to green and yellow. Or maybe you want to do a sea turtle that is all green and pink. So you have the real color of green and a different color of pink mixed in as well. When we start on the background, you want to make sure you are setting aside all of the colors you used for your animal palette. These are colors that we do not want to use in our background unless we are being careful to keep them away from our animal in the background. Because of all of our dividing lines and our patterns, our drawing is very busy, so we want to make sure we are intentionally using color to create some contrast between the animal and the background. The easiest way to do this is to use cool colors for one and warm colors for the other. In this case, I'm using warm colors for the snake, and I'm using mostly cool colors for the background. You do not have to divide between warm and cool colors, but that is an easy way to add contrast, which is what you want. If you are adding any colors from your animal into your background, they should be parts of patterns or in areas that do not touch your animals. So for example, these polka dots over here are far enough away from the animal that I could probably use some repeating colors without affecting my overall composition. Remember, this is mixed media, so you are using both colored pencil, marker, and whatever materials you chose. You can also layer materials, and colored pencils actually layer very nicely over top of marker. You can even use white colored pencil over marker. The most important thing to remember if you are using colored pencils, crayons, or oil pastels alongside your markers is that we want to be careful about getting those materials to be as bright and strong as our markers are. Especially with the colored pencils, our Prismacolors are able to get really strong colors, but you need to make sure you are kind of layering those colors and using enough pressure, like I am here, to get that really strong pigment. Our markers are really bright, so we want to make sure that we are making our colored pencil and other drawing materials look just as bright as they do. When your piece is finished, make sure you look back over it carefully for any white spots peeking through that you can go back and fill in neater. I can see a couple in mine here. You can also use white colored pencil to add any finishing touches.